And thank you for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Ephraim Graham. Ahead today, Ukrainians rejecting a demand from Russia. Their forces in the city of Mariupol surrender amid unconfirmed reports that Russians are forcibly taking captured Ukrainians to Russian territory. Israel taking in Jews from Ukraine, including a plane load of children. Plus, confirmation hearings begin today for President Joe Biden's pick for the Supreme Court, Ketanji Brown Jackson. The president praised her accomplishments, but critics are raising questions.
I believe it's time that we have a court that reflects the full talents and greatness of our nation, with a nominee of extraordinary qualifications.
The truth is that Ketanji Brown Jackson is a very smart woman, a very accomplished woman, but the problem is that she's an activist.
And she appeared on a reality matchmaking show where she spoke about remaining a virgin until marriage. Now she hosts a podcast. It's called All Strings Attached, and it deals with the hookup culture and sexual revolution in the face of Christian values.
My heart in All Strings Attached is to be a millennial female voice out there that advocates for God's way and shows that they don't have to give in to the pressure.
All those stories and more today from the CBN Newsroom.
This is CBN NewsWatch.
Begin this half hour in Ukraine, where officials have rejected a Russian demand their forces in the city of Mariupol surrender or in exchange for safe passage. As civilian casualties mount, the Russian invasion continues to create a huge humanitarian disaster. Adil Hurd is on the story.
As the Russian invasion stretches into day 26 and may have stalled, Russia has upped its attacks against non-military targets. In the southern port city of Mariupol, leaders rejected a Russian ultimatum to surrender today. Local officials say an airstrike destroyed a school where hundreds of people were seeking shelter. In the capital of Kyiv, Ukrainian officials say this missile strike destroyed a shopping mall, killing at least one person.
We've seen deliberate targeting of cities and towns and civilians throughout in the last several weeks. I believe that he's taking these kinds of steps because his campaign is stalled.
There are also unconfirmed reports that the Russian army is forcibly deporting Ukrainians to Russian territory.
It is unconscionable for Russia to force Ukrainian citizens into Russia and put them in what will basically be concentration and prisoner camps.
In her first American interview, the Russian journalist who risked jail by speaking out against the war says the Russian people oppose it.
It's Putin's war, not Russian people's war.
Meanwhile, at least 10 million Ukrainians have been forced out of their homes. 1/4 of the population are now refugees. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
Young and old, women and men, the people of Ukraine are putting their lives on the line to defend their nation. As CBN senior international correspondent George Thomas shows us, even though they lack military experience and training, civilians have been taking up arms and preparing for the fight.
24-year-old Taras Zarvansky has taken this weapons training class before, but isn't comfortable with the AK-47 just yet.
To be honest, the gun still feels a little heavy.
Zarvansky, whose background is in marketing, tells CBN News he decided to join Ukraine's civil defense force after watching videos of Russian troops targeting innocent civilians.
I completely changed my attitude after they started bombing Kharkiv. Now I'm ready to kill them.
Wednesday, Zarvansky and 13 others, all from different walks of life, watched and listened as a Ukrainian army instructor showed them how to assemble and disassemble, charge and aim guns. 49-year-old Vadim builds homes for a living. Russian troops destroyed his home north of Kyiv last week during an attack on his city of Bucha.
I've been thinking about learning how to use a weapon since the war started in 2014, because our enemy is really insidious and Putin will not stop until we beat him.
Thousands of civilians like Vadim have been getting training on weapons and other military skills to defend their country against Russian invaders.
I made a decision for myself that it is necessary to teach as many people as possible. Not to kill, but how to survive in the best way possible in the fight.
Many women like Maria Opaka want to join the fight.
When you see all of this, you understand that we have to do everything now to protect ourselves and our territory as much as you can.
Meanwhile, many living abroad are coming back home. The reports are that some 140,000 Ukrainians who used to live outside of the country have returned since Russia's invasion. And in fact, by the way, the Ukrainian embassy in Washington, D.C. is reporting that some 3,000 Americans have also signed up to fight the Russians. Ukraine's government started a website last week encouraging foreign volunteers to join the so-called International Legion to fight Russian forces. President Zelensky claimed thousands of fighters from 52 countries were already on their way.
The first of 16,000 are coming to defend the liberty and life of us and of everyone. I'm sure it will be successful.
Among them, this foreign fighter named Static, who was filmed instructing volunteers on use of an RPG launcher.
You're fighting for democracy because democracy is precious and one man shouldn't decide that another country shouldn't have it.
Not to be outdone, Russia is also reportedly recruiting foreign fighters. According to the Wall Street Journal, Syrian mercenaries are being deployed to Ukraine, along with fighters from Chechnya. George Thomas, CBN News, Lviv, Ukraine.
As we've been reporting, the Russian invasion has led to a massive humanitarian disaster. You can help Operation Blessing's disaster relief efforts in this horrible war and humanitarian crisis in Ukraine. Simply call 1-800-700-7000 and let us know that you want to give to the Operation Blessing Disaster Relief Fund. You can also write us at CBN Center, Virginia Beach, Virginia. That is 23463. Simply note Disaster Relief Fund in the memo line of your check. And you can text us as well. Just text OB Crisis to 71777. You can also go to our website, cbn.com, or Operation Blessing's website, ob.org. Anything you're able to do is greatly appreciated. Israel is opening its arms to Ukrainian Jews. The Jewish state recently received a plane load of children who made a harrowing escape. They arrived just in time to celebrate Purim, a holiday which marks the deliverance of the Jewish people from an evil plot to destroy them. CBN's Chris Mitchell has this story.
These children are celebrating the Jewish holiday of Purim here at Nesarim outside Jerusalem. This is normally a place where youth groups and others come to hike and enjoy nature. But over the last few weeks, Nesarim welcomed about 150 Jewish refugees fleeing the war in Ukraine. Many of them are children who came without parents.
The same second that I heard the alarm, I heard a missile fall and heard that the children woke up and were crying. God gave me the thought, send the children out now.
That was 5 a.m. At 12 o'clock noontime, all the kids and the 3 families that were working with them were on a bus towards the Carpathian Mountains, bringing them further away from the battleground.
Rabbi Shlomo Wilhelm and his wife Esther have led the Jewish community in Zhytomyr, Ukraine for the last 27 years. Their work includes the Alamim Center, a children's home and social center for parents and children.
It was a miracle that we could get out with all the children. They were without passports, without permissions from their parents, and everyone got out to the last one.
Some of the kids had no passports. Some of the kids, they got the parents to WhatsApp a copy of a handwritten permission that they're allowing us to take the kids. But because it's wartime, so rules were flexible. And that's how we got all the kids out and into Israel.
Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett greeted the community as they arrived. They are now staying at Nesarim thanks to the KKL Jewish National Fund.
Within 48 hours, we changed the character of the center. The people that work here for volunteers from Keren Kayemet to Israel. We started to put closets together in the rooms to make them suitable for a long-term stay. that they would be suited for children, something that for sure isn't here usually.
Manager Gili Maimon says the response has been overwhelming.
We've received many requests to volunteer, also to donate things, clothes, toys, gift baskets, also many professional people, teachers that want to help and come teach Hebrew.
This year's annual Purim party for nearby communities was even more special. Costumes, food, clowns, and games were part of the festive event. And it included a reading of the biblical book of Esther and its story of God delivering the Jewish people from a plot to destroy them in ancient Persia. Maimon says it's a privilege to serve the new arrivals.
It's also fun to educate the children. They are very appreciative, very attentive, very loving. We are trying to give them the feeling of being at home and of fun.
While Israel is ready for the newcomers to stay, their future is still uncertain.
It's a wonderful place where they've been very hospitable to us and all our needs, and it's a beautiful nature, but it's not a place where we can live long term.
Malki Bouquet is director of the Alumim Center.
We're just trying a lot of different things. In a different situation, we will see what's going on, how the war is continuing or ending, and what happens in Ukraine in the next day.
Esther says that while they are living a life of contradictions, a good attitude will see them through.
We need to know that there are things we have to take care of, things we have to do to think about the future, but at the same time, to try to stay positive, stay happy, celebrate Purim in the best way we can, because there's a saying that joy breaks through barriers.
Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Coming up here at home, confirmation hearings begin for President Biden's choice for the U.S. Supreme Court. We'll take a look at Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson and hear what some of her critics are saying when we come back.
Life is better with a good night's sleep. Get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep as the world watches from the outside.
It's a big diplomatic tug of war here in the Middle East.
Go inside the story with Jerusalem Dateline.
Israeli archaeologists are talking about a discovery that could change the thinking about the Temple Mount.
Join CBN Jerusalem Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell and get the biblical perspective on the events shaping the world.
What starts in Israel then ends up going to other places.
Watch Jerusalem Dateline Friday night at 8:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. Life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com.
Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas has been hospitalized because of an infection. That is what the court said Sunday. The court said the 73-year-old Thomas has been at Sibley Memorial Hospital in Washington, D.C. since Friday after experiencing flu-like symptoms. It gave no additional details about the infection, but said Thomas is being treated with antibiotics and his symptoms are easing up. He could be released in the next couple of days. That news comes as Senate confirmation hearings for Supreme Court nominee Ketanji Brown Jackson begin today. She's the first African-American woman nominated to the U.S. Supreme Court, and she is expected to be confirmed. Nonetheless, some critics are raising questions about her judicial philosophy. Mark Martin has more on the president's pick.
Democrats hope the process of confirming Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson will be quick and bipartisan based on votes she received last year that put her on the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals. The 51-year-old judge would become the third black justice and first federal public defender to sit on the Supreme Court. In addition, the Harvard-trained lawyer served as the vice chair of the U.S. Sentencing Commission. President Obama nominated her to the federal bench in 2012.
For too long, our government, our courts, haven't looked like America. And I believe it's time that we have a court that reflects the full talents and greatness of our nation, with a nominee of extraordinary qualifications.
And if I am fortunate enough to be confirmed as the next Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States, I can only hope that my life and career, my love of this country and the Constitution, and my commitment to upholding the rule of law and the sacred principles upon which this great nation was founded will inspire future generations of Americans.
The nomination, however, is receiving some pushback. President and CEO of Concerned Women for America, Penny Nance, spoke out against Jackson's work on behalf of pro-abortion organizations.
The truth is that Ketanji Brown Jackson is a very smart woman, a very accomplished woman, but the problem is that she's an activist. We have her history already in front of us. People have really started to dig into her record now. And we know that she has worked along with the abortion left, NARAL and others, in order to write briefs, to write amicus briefs on their behalf that encourage the discrimination against pro-life views.
Former Congresswoman and presidential candidate Michelle Bachmann, who is now the dean of Regent University's Robertson School of Government, offers advice for those asking questions during the confirmation hearings. She says senators need to remind Judge Jackson that according to the Constitution, justices have to be limited under law.
And I would ask her to affirm that. Does she believe what the Constitution says? Will she affirm what the Constitution says about the limitations put upon justices? If she says that before the camera and the public eye, then she'll prove herself a liar if she goes against what she said later on in a decision that goes beyond that. If she's deciding that she wants to make law from the bench rather than applying the law from the bench.
If confirmed, Jackson would replace Justice Stephen Breyer, who is retiring when the court's current session ends this summer. Mark Martin, CBN News.
And you can watch Judge Jackson's confirmation hearings on the CBN News Channel, cbnnews.com, and on our YouTube channel. Still ahead, we're going to talk to Angela Zatopek-Blair about her podcast, All Strings Attached, and his focus on marriage relationships and the sexual revolution. We'll hear from her right after this.
On October 1st, 1961, history was made when a tiny station began transmitting the first signals of the Christian Broadcasting Network.
CBN, the Christian Broadcasting Network.
And now, a new era has begun with the all-new CBN News Channel.
Just moments ago, the Iron Dome intercepted an incoming rocket right on the Gaza border.
Administering in this area, spiritual warfare is definitely involved.
A 24/7 news network, bringing you the news you want from a source you can trust.
In Kenya, 40% of the medical services are actually provided by these Christian hospitals.
Let's talk about the economy.
Believers here are joining together to win people to Jesus Christ.
All your favorite shows now in one place. Go to cbnnewschannel.com to find out how to get the CBN News Channel on your TV all day, every day. CBN News. Life is better with a good night's sleep. Get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. Life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com.
And welcome back to CBN News Watch. All Strings Attached is a podcast with a unique focus on marriage, relationships, and lifestyle. Angela Blair hosts the rotating cast of experts, and one hot-button issue is the world's sexual revolution in the face of Christian values. Angela joins us right now with more. So, Angela, what gave birth to this podcast?
Yeah, so excited to be here. A lot of things have contributed to this, but really what started the journey was I appeared on a national televised reality dating show years ago, and I talked about my decision to wait for marriage. Little did I know, saying that decision would bring so much backlash and so many criticism from different news outlets and people. I heard I wasn't a modern day woman. That was insane. And so going through my 20s, it was definitely a journey of faith for me and really looking at God instead of what the world says. And just got married a year and a half ago, and my husband also made that same decision to wait. And so our story, I'm just so inspired to share that it is worth the wait and empower other people to live out godly values, even though the world says it's crazy.
Well, yeah, the world does definitely say differently. What do you think has led to the hookup culture of today?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of contributing factors. If you study back to the sexual revolution, when contraceptives were made, I think our world had this mentality all of a sudden of, oh, there's safe sex. And my show, All Strings Attached, what we do is we take a scientific approach. We lead with thought leaders, biologists, psychologists. We even have neurologists to look at your brain and show truly the impact of sex and all the strings attached with it. And so I think the whole mentality of safe sex has infiltrated our youth today. And I got to be honest, the things that I see and hear speaking to youth groups around the country, I think it's really time for everyone to look at this as not only sex, but it's a mental health issue as well if you enter that into your life too young.
Indeed. Where does social media fall in this issue?
I think social media is a really big influence on what we think is normal, and it can normalize things. And I think that a lot of young girls today, you know, I'm a millennial female, so I didn't grow up with TikTok, but TikTok is kind of the big thing for Gen Zers today. And when they see certain things, it tells them indirectly in their mind, oh, this is okay. So my heart in All Strings Attached is to be a millennial female voice out there that advocates for God's way and shows that they don't have to give in to the pressures.
People watching and hearing your story of remaining pure until marriage, how can people with traditional values stay on the right path?
Yeah, I think that it's definitely not an easy thing to stick to. We're all human, right? And God made us with those desires. But I can tell you, as someone that did walk that walk and wait until I was 32, that it is the most underrated decision out there. It is the most beautiful thing to have that in a marriage. And I think going through your singleness and your dating life, having a really good group around you and being connected to people that you can trust and process things with. I know for me, that's something I did. I surrounded myself with a godly group of women. So really encourage just having that strong community and looking at, instead of the immediate, the long-term result you want, which I think we all want: love, romance, and an amazing marriage.
Indeed. Angela Blair, thank you so much. I want to let you know at home that you can check out All Strings Attached, her podcast, anytime by going to Apple or Google Podcasts or to Spotify. Thank you so much, Angela.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back with an encouraging word for you right after this.
Life is better with a good night's sleep. Get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
I'm Ephraim Graham, and this is Studio 5. Cruise with me as I discover the good things happening in the world of music, sports, television, and movies.
The fact that Ryan Coogler was going to be directing the film, I knew that something special was going to happen.
We'll chat with artists at the forefront of entertainment and explore the connection between popular culture and faith.
I asked my pastor, I said, well, does that mean I'm supposed to be a preacher? He says, well, no, you already have a pulpit.
Wednesday night at 8:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Remember for a moment what it was like to be a child. You believed every story you were told. You saw a world full of endless possibilities. What stories will the world's orphaned and at-risk children believe? We believe the Bible tells the only story truly worth believing. We believe that every child should have the opportunity to dream, the chance to take challenges and turn them into possibilities, the chance to stand on the promises of God, to recognize their place in the greatest story ever told. They have their whole lives ahead of them. Theirs is a world of endless possibilities. They are looking for a story to believe. We will tell them that story. Will you join us?
Download the CBN News app, 24/7 news from a Christian perspective at home or on the road. One place for all of your news. Breaking news alerts. Set daily prayer goals and pray for news stories. Read the most important news and watch CBN News Channel live. CBN News, because truth matters. Go to cbnnewsapp.com to get the app today.
Time now for your Monday motivation. I want to leave you with this message. Living a blessed life is not measured by the size of your bank account, your job, or the car you drive. A blessed life is a life that blesses others. So make today's prayer this: God, let me be the miracle someone needs today. Use me to bless someone else. And with that prayer, I encourage you to make today a marvelous Monday. That will do it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. I want to remind you, you can always find more of our news programs on the CBN News Channel at any time. You can also find them online at cbnnews.com. We would love to know what you think about the stories you've seen here today or any day. You can email us. The address is right there at the bottom of your screen, newswatch@cbn.com. And of course, you can always reach out and touch us on Facebook, Twitter, as well as Instagram. We'd love to hear from you. Make it a marvelous Monday and join us right back here tomorrow. Bye-bye, everybody.